What I've released just before this conference is what we're calling DSL descriptors. Now, since Groovy is a good language for writing your own DSLs, a lot of people do it. But the problem with that is every time you have a DSL, the editor doesn't know about that particular DSL. And so it can't really give you any help or can't give you any content assist, searching, navigation, any of that good stuff that programmers need and expect when they're programming. With this DSL descriptors, it's now possible for DSL creators to create a little file, and in that file, create a little description about your DSL that Eclipse will read and process, and then use that information to help people use your particular domain-specific language. Since this is a very new feature, I'm trying to get people familiar with it and to try to use this particular feature for their own libraries. And so one very popular library is called Griffin, which is basically a way to create desktop applications using Groovy. And it has a lot of internal domain-specific languages, or DSLs. And what we're trying to do here is create a DSL descriptor for all the various DSLs inside of Griffin. And we've had some pretty good success so far, but there's a bit more to go, but it's only been about an hour or two that we've been working on it. So we'll see how things go at the end of the day.
So maybe do you think you will finish that today?
I think we'll get it into a state that we can say, okay, this is something that'll work. But it's not going to be perfect today. And it's showing me that there are, as I knew there would be, that there are some things in my implementation of DSL descriptors in the editor that's not quite ready yet. So I need to make a few changes to it to fully support what we want to do for Griffin. My specialty is writing the tool support. I know a bit about the Groovy language. I know a bit less about Grails, and I know very little about Griffin. And so it's great to be here because I'm able to learn a lot from all these different things, and some of the people who are extremely knowledgeable in this area. And so it's good. So far, the conference has barely started, and I've already learned a lot. So it's great to be here, and also it's nice to get feedback on the stuff that I've been working on. So that's, I think it's nice that I'm able to have people work on my stuff, but I think next time I'd actually try to work on something completely unrelated to what I'm doing right now, so I can actually get a feel for what it's like to be a developer on something different. And I'm definitely getting a lot out of seeing other people use what I've just created, the tool support that I've just created, but the trade-off is that I don't get to play with other technology. I've just come all the way from the west coast of Canada, and so 9-hour time difference, and I'd been up since about 5 in the morning. So I really enjoyed the meal, I really enjoyed talking to people, but by the end I just had to go home or go back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
One thing that was interesting is how many different projects there were that people want other people to work on.
Can I have you to that again?
Sure.
Yeah. It's okay.
Okay. So one of the interesting things I found is that there are so many different projects that people want other people to work on. It's showing how much of a lively community this is, and how much the fact that there are so many projects means that it's very community driven, and there are a lot of people out there who are able to have their own pet project, but promote it as something that's generally useful for lots of people out there. And you've seen that with, Griffin and Grails are both great examples of that, as well as Gaelic and a bunch of other projects as well that we've seen. So the interesting thing is that I've been communicating with these people over the past 2 years, and a lot of them I haven't met until just yesterday or even just today. And so to have an email relationship with someone, it's very different after the first time you've met them, because now you finally feel like, okay, now I'm actually friends with the person. And so the fact that the people who are just these random email addresses out there, now that I can actually start calling them friends, means that I'd be much more likely to either ask them for help or, you know, provide them with help if they need it. Not that I wouldn't provide help before, but I feel that there'd be a much stronger bond, and meeting at a place like this is a good way to just strengthen the community and make sure that the community grows stronger, and that we let me see. Yeah, so one of the great things about open source communities is that they tend to be distributed around the world, so you can live where you want to live, and you can do what you want to do, and you could work on it when you want to work on it. But the downside is that you can never really feel connected to these people on a deep level until you actually meet them in person. And once you meet them in person, even if it's just once, you get to know them, and then it becomes more than just a random email address. It becomes a friendship.